Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Comic Book Geezers. Welcome to another episode of Villain Spotlight alongside, look who's back, Mr. Wild Bill's in the house.
Hey, comic book fans. Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Geezers. Yeah, it's been about 5 or 6 weeks since Pete and I last got together. A lot going on with life.
Tell me about
Keeping busy.
Yeah, both of us. It's like,
so good to be back. In my downtime, I decided to do a Villain Spotlight on the Cobalt Man. Now, he first appeared in my collection here in issue 173. But Cobalt Man's really true first appearance was in X-Men 31, but here's a copy of 79, which is a reprint.
Yeah, they did that whole weird... How many issues did they do these reprints? It's like,
I think from the mid-30s up until issue 94.
It's crazy when you think about it, right?
Right? The X-Men Giant Size #1 was the launch of the new characters and costumes. And
that's basically because the X-Men comic never really took off, but Marvel didn't want to let it die, right? So they figured, we'll do the reprints for a while and see if they catch on again. And it's just a weird decision. Very, very, very strange. Yeah, look at how different.
1974, the Hulk issue.
1967.
This is 1967.
His powers were similar, though, right? If I remember correctly. I don't know if I've ever read this one.
Virtually as powerful as the Hulk.
Yeah.
And he was created by Roy Thomas and Werner Roth. But his name was Ralph Roberts, and he worked for Stark Industries. And,
of course he did.
Yeah. And he wanted to build a suit similar in power, almost identical to Iron Man's, but he was a scientist, and his intentions were to create this suit and then hand the blueprints over to the government because Tony Stark would not hand over the blueprints of Iron Man. So he wanted to devise his suit out of cobalt, and he had a younger brother named Ted, and he let him in on the secret of what he was doing. Like, he had this secret project he was working on, and then he was in track and field events, and he went pole vaulting, and the pole snapped, and he hit his head, and he got mental, and then he got in the suit. He went, and his brother was like, "You shouldn't do this, man." He's like, nah, everything's good. I'm gonna, you know how they experiment on themselves without testing the product first, the prototype. So he gets in the suit, and the cobalt radiation or whatever drives him mad. So the X-Men got to basically pin him down.
Wow, look at how much he looked like Iron Man here, like a blue Iron Man. Yeah.
So I want to show the part where he snaps his head. In the beginning, there's a lot of character drama development. So basically, it's the bump on the head with the pole vault accident. And they're like, of course, are you all right? Yeah, sure, I'm fine. How many fingers am I holding up? It's Thursday, leave me alone, So
pole vault turning into cobalt.
Speaking of pole vault, if I go off on a tangent for a second, I had when I was a teenager, I did track and field in high school because my parents were like, get out of the house, get involved in sports or whatever, be social.
Stop sitting here reading comic books, damn it, get out and go play some sports.
That, but that's what my dad was thinking, I'm sure. So anyway, I was on a track team, and I found out in like 2008 from a teacher that worked at my high school, a younger lady than myself, obviously, when I met her and told her who I was, I had a pole vault record in high school for the last 16 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I cleared 10 feet.
Go figure. 10 feet?
Yeah. So when I told her my name, she's like, I know you. I'm like, what are you talking about? I just met you. How do you know who I am? And she's like, you were on the Wall of Fame in the gym. You had the record for pole vault. Then she told me it lasted 16 years, but it was broken. It was weird because I named teachers that I had, and she either knew them or knew if they were retired. But I thought she was a high school kid because she was real young looking in the face. But she must have been like 30 years old. But she was wearing my high school jacket, so that's how I knew she went to my high school.
How weird is that, huh?
Yeah.
So anyway, too bad you couldn't get a picture of you up on the wall, right? It's like
I might have to dig in my yearbook, but I don't think they caught pictures of me. But I was such a flyweight, I couldn't even. I had to basically run and jump and use my momentum to get over because the pole was made of fiberglass so that it would bend and be like a slingshot, but you needed weight to bend the pole. And
you were a little pipsqueak, right?
The minimum weight was like 150 pounds, and I was like 125, 128. I couldn't bend it. I wasn't heavy enough. So I would never get any slingshot effect. If I could, I probably would have been able to launch up higher. The hard part is when you go up in the air is using your arm strength to pick your legs. You got to shoot your legs straight up into the air and then come over the bar. And then you need to push the bar away and not hit the crossbar. It's hard. But the fun part was landing on the mats. The part that sucked the most in track was having to drag those mats out from the storage closet because they weighed a ton and nobody wanted to help. Yeah, that was.
I could just picture him getting stuck doing it every time.
I couldn't really move them. Like that little kid in Caddyshack trying to move Rodney Dangerfield's golf bag around.
Yeah.
And can't do it. I can handle it. Yeah, sure you can. Okay, back to the X-Men.
Back to Cobalt Man.
Got a blue Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
He's got these rays, like repulsor rays, and I can't think of the name of them. But he, like I said, he planned to give the blueprints.
That beam must be nearly as strong as Iron Man's repulsor rays. I'm betting it's stronger. My transistors operating. He doesn't really call it anything, but yeah.
There's a name for it. I was reading it, but I didn't write it down.
I'll soon turn into a walking C-bomb.
So he uses his repulsor rays, which they're not. I can't think of the name. Sorry. I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments. But the energy that is generated within his body from the nuclear reaction that the Cobalt gives off the radiation, he's able to use that as a force to fly.
Oh, okay.
So he can also, obviously use it to destroy material.
And yeah, you guys can't see it, but he's got the suit on, and all of a sudden you see those little gold speckles
stars around his head.
So he's losing his mind.
Yep. So the X-Men have to pin him down. So basically, this conflict back in 1967 with the Cobalt Man, he doesn't really reappear, to the best of my knowledge, until Hulk.
Yeah.
173. 7 years later.
It's a long time to keep a villain on ice, as they just did there.
So
Bobby freezes him up. So fast forward.
So 173, you got Roy Thomas back writing for the first time in 3 years with Herb Trimpe. And still editing, but in this one, he gets on this ship, and Bruce Banner gets onto the ship, and this guy wants to go expose himself, like when a guy invents a bulletproof vest and he wants to go try it out and stand in front of a live round being fired at him. This guy wants to put on his Cobalt suit and go out to an H-bomb test and stand out there. But what happens is he goes out there without his suit, just regular street clothes. And it's almost like a repeat of Bruce Banner and his bomb test.
Oh, okay.
This Cobalt Man's brother is the Rick Jones in this story.
Okay.
So I'm going to cut fast forward. Ba-boom! Splash page, blow up. So the guy in the green suit is the younger brother. Obviously the guy with no shirt is Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
So the exposure of the radiation from this Cobalt bomb gets the juices flowing in the Cobalt Man, right? Nice little Daredevil commercial. So this blast powers him up, and like I said, he's virtually as strong as the Hulk.
So basically now he doesn't have to put a suit on, right? It automatically...
His body started turning blue because he was overexposed, and Banner's body gets weak because he's exposed to radiation, and he's not the Hulk because he was kind of like a stowaway. So every Hulk issue it starts off where he's being chased by the cops or the army.
Yeah.
So of course he wants to run away, and he stows away onto a ship nearby. That's how he gets onto the boat. Do you love how I tell the story from the middle and then go to the front,
backwards,
back?
Jumping all over the place.
Yeah, it's comic book geezers. So basically, in this part of the story, look at there's 2 issues.
Yeah,
Cobalt Man is really putting a whoop ass on the Hulk. But then the Hulk takes the Cobalt Man and picks him up and throws him right through the ship. Puts a hole in the ship. My might be the next page.
And he starts turning. Wow, he starts turning back into Banner like right while he's still fighting.
So he throws him through the ship, and then because of the radiation, he's doomed because he reverts back to Banner, and it's a cliffhanger. Goodbye. End of the issue. Oops. So we gotta wait till the next month later when 174 comes out.
That's a great cover, huh? Look at that.
You got the Herb Trimp version here.
Yep.
I think this is Jerry Conway with Roy Thomas writing on this one. This is April 74. And so the Hulk turns into Banner at the end of the previous issue. And then in this issue, he's doomed. He's at the bottom of this. The ship is sinking. He's in peril.
Fuzzy hair and all. He's wet.
Well, it's wet.
I know, but it's all...
It's
quite the mop top he's got there.
Yes. So, over here, Good Samaritan, Cobalt Man, fellow scientist, feels like he can't leave Bruce Banner behind. Got some kind of compassion there.
It's very big of him.
Not so much of a villain as he was in the X-Men days.
I guess not.
So, he brings Banner to the surface. Right? And then he swims off. See ya. Where you going? And he's going to swim full blast to the center of the H-bomb test to get to the center of the fallout, maximum fallout zone. And of course, when he does that, all that energy starts pouring through his body, and it's almost like a sensory overload, and he can't handle it. So, of course, the Hulk gets involved and wants to stop him. And there's your conflict. So at one point, the Cobalt Man is fighting the Hulk, and he says to him about, he calls him Banner, right?
So,
It's down here.
Wrong move.
He calls Hulk Banner, and he says, you know, Banner, you couldn't control. He goes, you can't control your evil half, and the Hulk freaks out, flips out as soon as he says evil, and the Hulk's like, I might be big, I might be strong, but I'm not evil, and so that really gets it going, and he starts putting a hurting onto Cobalt Man, but Cobalt Man grabs the Hulk, and with his energy repulsors, he starts flying into outer space with the Hulk because he's got the helmet on, and the Hulk is going to, suffocate once they get up into the vacuum of space. But meanwhile, all this energy is building up like a bomb, getting ready to explode inside Cobalt Man. He's like a living bomb, and he wanted to blow up on Earth's surface to teach mankind a lesson about the dangers of nuclear warfare. So now when he's up in outer space, he's like, oh no. And I think the Hulk pulled his helmet off, too. So he was grabbing for his helmet.
Trying to, yeah.
So, anyway, he's all panic-stricken that this is all for naught, that he's up in space and he can't blow up on the surface of the Earth. So, basically, the Hulk saves Earth. Getting the bomb off of Earth, right?
You even got
Cobalt Man.
Tricky Dicky down the bottom there.
So, he explodes, and that's how we know the end of Cobalt Man. He's been killed off, but
so you think.
Then he comes back later in the with Egghead. What were those guys? The Sinister, the Evil.
Squadron Supreme.
No, it's in here.
I wonder if that was the last time we saw Cobalt Man, this particular issue. Defenders 43.
It tells you all right in here.
Oh, the Rhino's there.
Does it say Sinister? It's called Evil something.
Oh, the Emissaries of Evil. Okay, yeah, the new
you.
Emissary. So that's Cobalt.
That's
Solar.
not an easy one.
Yeah, so Solar, the Rhino, Cobalt Man, and Egghead.
Egghead's the Master Man who got them all together.
Yeah, so basically.
So in this issue of the Defenders, the Cobalt Man is already laid out. He's on ice. But they they were in another dimension. And they were trying to steal something from Doctor Strange, but he prevented it. And the Defenders got involved. So, Nighthawk tells the Hulk to get Cobalt Man into the ocean. So, like to defuse like a nuclear reactor. They need water. And Hulk listens to him. And of course, Egghead isn't happy about
Curse
it.
that Megalodonian something.
So pretty much in this issue, the Cobalt Man is...
incapacitated.
Yes, he's unconscious, but he's like a bomb, live ordnance. Look out. But it's interesting how they don't really talk about him blowing up in the Hulk, because they show Luke Cage reciting recapping the history, and they say that he lost his mind. But we see that he blew up. We didn't see him lose. He was in the process of losing his mind, but they just totally neglect that he exploded.
Yeah.
But that's comic books for you.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
this was how many years later, right? So this is
well, the other one's 1974, and then this is 1977.
Oh, okay.
So 3 years later, you're gonna forget.
Yeah.
I forget right after I read these. So, but that's where they're here, so you can always go back and look again. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. So, I think this was the ad I filled out when I started my subscription to Marvel Comics when I was in high school.
Mail it in with your 5-cent stamp or whatever it was back then.
I think stamps were like 13 cents, realistically, I think. But
I've lost track of how much stamps are now. It's like...
they're like 63 cents.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, Cobalt Man...
look, there's a...
flashback of the X-Men scenario.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
So I think, as a character, they probably could have got a little bit more mileage out of him. So I think that was cool that they brought him back in the Defenders. But there you have my little extra version of Cobalt Man, Villain
this
Spotlight.
was the last we ever saw from him. I don't know.
Ralph Roberts, may he rest in peace. In eternal Marvel Universe glory, the Cobalt Man.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, what an evolution of the costume.
Yeah, well, for sure.
I like the Hulk version. This one.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool looking, actually. I always thought he was kind of different.
I like how he's using his little laser beam here.
Yeah.
Right under his chin. Throat shot.
Classic Herb Trimby.
Well, there you have it, guys. Please click the like bell. And as always, we thank you for being here and your subscriptions and your comments. As always, please come back for more comic book geezers. We'll see you soon with more stuff.
Yep. For Wild Bill, I'm Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you soon here on Comic Book Geezers. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.